This is a story that's coming out of Venezuela. Trump administration authorizes covert CIA action in Venezuela. The US military is drawing up options for President Trump to consider, including possible strikes inside the country. And this is The Guardian, which is hardly supportive of Maduro in Venezuela. Why is Trump, the self-proclaimed president of peace, aiming to topple the Venezuelan regime? Joining us to talk about this, we have Carolina Graterol.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, last time we spoke, it was about the Nobel Peace Prize being awarded to the opposition of Maduro. That didn't look like a good sign, but this is actually far more dangerous than that. That was almost like a precursor to it. I've got a short clip here of Maduro's response to what's happening.
El pueblo de los Estados Unidos lo sabe. Se están inventando una nueva guerra eterna. Prometieron que más nunca se metían en una guerra y se están inventando una guerra que nosotros vamos a evitar. ¿Con qué? Con la movilización de los pueblos de América del Sur, porque América del Sur y el Caribe todo dice no a la guerra, sí a la paz, sí a la prosperidad.
Trump's coming up with some sort of idea. This is a drugs thing, some sort of drugs coming from Venezuela. I don't really understand how that's enough to go in for war. I've never heard that anyway. Even if it were true, it wouldn't be enough to bring a war around, military action. Can you tell us more about where this suddenly came from? What do you think this has come from?
I will say that obviously we all know the agenda, Venezuela's oil. And what happens to the United States in geopolitical terms, if they got a mess in the Gaza genocide, Yemen, attacking some of the ships in the past, and they could do it in the future. They know that if there is a big conflict there that could involve Yemen, Iran, Saudi Arabia is not very happy either, they will lose the oil that they need, to oil the economy for the U.S. economy to run. We're talking about a country that produces United States oil, but not enough really to cover all the needs they have. And also considering that it takes 45 days to bring this oil from Saudi Arabia or from any other country in the Middle East, and just 4 from Venezuela. That's always been the reason. I think what is very interesting, and I think in this case, is that for the United States is not very easy. It's not straightforward, because they cannot do the same thing that they did with Iraq, for example, taking some maps and showing us that how Saddam Hussein has these weapons of mass destruction. In reality, for 25 years, even more, for 30 years, I think the reports from the United Nations come back. Venezuela has always fought against any illegal, illicit transport of drugs through the Venezuelan territory. And not just that, when the DAI came out, was thrown out from Venezuela, the seize of drugs actually went up exponentially. So in reality, the reports, which you can access them online, says that just 5% of the drugs try to go through Venezuela, and Venezuela is actually at the moment getting to this 70% of that drug that goes through. So of course, it's a completely baseless, but again, Trump lies, and in the United States, it has really worked really well for him, because nobody really stands up to him. I think it's going to be a different matter outside United States, because Venezuela has, for many years, and this is not because of any interest behind, Venezuela is recognized as a country that really has shown what solidarity means in international levels. You know, we have produced 6 million of little canaimas, it's called canaimitas, it's the name of a shift and Indian shift, and there are some kind of laptops that are given to all the children in Venezuela in primary, secondary, or even in university, and they are also distributed these same laptops in all the little islands. They have also sold subsidized oil to all these little islands in the Caribbean, and that's why.
Right.
And help many other countries, you know, in the past when they have really had a lot of troubles. And I think that what the government of Venezuela is hoping is that pressure, you know, like from the countries and hopefully some of the governments of the region will convince Trump that it's a really bad idea.
And that's what he said about, you know, that's what he said Maduro was saying in that speech. So Lula has sort of come out and said something I saw in support of Venezuela and Maduro. But what about other countries?
Oh yeah, we have this obviously Claudia. One of the lies that Trump said is that there is a supposedly cartel of the Souls cartel that was working, and Maduro was the head of the cartel, and they were working with the Sinaloa cartel. And Claudia, I can't remember her surname, is a bit strange. The president of Mexico said that there is no evidence whatsoever that the Sinaloa cartel, which really exists in Mexico, has any connections to a cartel that actually doesn't exist. It was actually an invention of the CIA in the 80s. And it's interesting, they got this idea because the army in Venezuela has a little son in some of the I don't know, some of the insignias that they have in the military wear. And I think it's so blatant that there's no cartel. Not even the DEA has mentioned ever a cartel of the souls in the reports that they actually prepared for the government of the United States in the past and in the present. So it's a very obvious lie that cannot even be, you know, substantiated by reports by the FBI and the CIA. But you know, sometimes we live in a world of spectacle, you know, a spectacle and shows and tell lies until people start believing that they are true.
Do you, I mean, Trump's full of hot air, isn't he? He does say all these things like he's going to take over Greenland, he's going to this, that. Is the feeling in Venezuela that he's just talking, trying to be intimidating? Do people really believe that there might be some military threat when you've spoken to people there?
Well, in reality, behind Trump is Marco Rubio, and he is the Secretary of State. So the foreign secretary, in fact, and he is the one who really wants and needs for his political career to actually do something in Venezuela, because he has aspirations of becoming next president in the future, president of the United States. As I think Vance also has that kind of aspirations, and they are, especially Marco Rubio and together with the three members of Congress from Florida, are really, really, I mean, they are fighting for the political life because of what Trump did to all the migrants that were with the TPS, not just Venezuelans that removed it, and all the attack on the migrants. They have lost the support of the Latin and the migrant community, and they need something quickly and effective to really restore the reputation to keep alive, because they're going to lose the seats in the next midterm elections. So it sadly is not just Trump, it's much deeper than that. But obviously also there are some part of the US government that don't agree and consider that this is a terrible idea.
So when have you've spoken to people in Venezuela? I mean, what are they feeling? Are they in fear? What's the repercussions been? Is the economy in trouble? What's sort of happening?
It's incredible, but what is happening at the moment with the economy is that it's booming. It's not a lie, it's booming. It's this year up to August, it grew 7%. And not just because we're selling a little bit more oil. We have a basket of new products that we're putting in the market what we never did before. Coffee. We have 100 types of varieties of coffee, the best in the world, I have to say. I got a cousin that actually grows coffee in the Andean region, and when the Colombians had problems with the crops, they would buy the coffee from her because they knew it was as good as the Colombian coffee, Arabica. And that what is happening at the moment is Venezuela is opening. It's creating an economy that's self-sufficient. It's the economies that we dream of in Europe, not depending on importing anything, just really creating wealth from the produce that we have. And we do have produce, seriously, not just the oil and the gold and the water and the gas. We had also incredible fertile land, an amazing weather where you can, have 4 crops of corn, for example, in a year. So it really is a resurgence, and I think it's a new way of creating an economy. I tell you, it's that, and also the creation and the impulse that Maduro has given to the communes that is actually creating that. And you can see it, the communes, I don't know, the one example that I know people know here is the Preston model. I think in Venezuela we have something beyond the Preston model, where communes in Caracas are, the government and everybody is bypassing companies or big corporations and actually asking communes to make like uniforms for all the schools. The government provides uniforms for the schools and everything. So there are communes doing these kind of projects, and depending on what they concentrate on, they are offering this. So it's an economy that really feeds, the people that work in this produce, which are people in these kind of communes that have a kind of a communal ownership. The dividends money is divided among everything equally. It's incredible. It's really is I will say that we got a big, still a round to go, but this is really happening. And Venezuela's economy is like this. Now, the dollar is at 216 bolivars per dollar. And it was in 2024, beginning of 2024, it was 30 per dollar. So it's really hitting the economy badly. And I have no idea. My dad said, look, I don't know. He can't explain it. He's 82-year-old. He said, I see people buying stuff in the streets. I see people going out, eating, businesses starting, but the dollar is incredibly expensive now. And I think what it is that the economy is resurging. And there is another reason why Venezuela needs to be taken, destroyed. The Chavista government needs to be obliterated, and Maduro needs to go for the optic of United States. And it's because our model is becoming successful, even with 1,050 sanctions, with financial and blockade, commercial blockade. The government of Venezuela cannot buy anything in the market. Doesn't have accounts. All the accounts that the Venezuelan government have been frozen. It's about 20 billion frozen in the world, and Venezuela recovered some 3 billion in Portugal recently. Have to take, based on lawyers to do that. And this is going to be a really long task for Venezuela to go to all these countries where the money is, but we will do it. And I think the Americans, even the capitalist system is collapsing. It's really a failure. It's not offering anything anymore. Because it has gone into enriching the very, very rich and letting everybody living in salaries that, doesn't buy you a coffee and a croissant or whatever.
I mean, it sounds a bit like the resilience of Palestinian people when they face all this hardship from Israel. I mean, it's not anything like as harmful as the kind of attacks being made on Venezuela. But the blockade and all these other things, they're making all their own food, making their own being communal life, and Trump thinks he can kind of intimidate and force this woman into power and her acolytes, but you don't think there's any. She hasn't got any backing in the country from
No, no. At the moment, there is like a survey company in Venezuela just came out and said 87% of the people, according to this survey done just a couple of days ago, 87% of the people in Venezuela think that anybody that is calling for invasion should be treated for treason. And recently, Leopoldo Lopez, who was trying to model himself as the Mandela of Venezuela and couldn't, and is got 92% of unpopularity among Venezuelans in Venezuela. And the other thing is we have an incredible arm, and it's humor. You're not going to believe people are making jokes in Venezuela. And this is something that English people might not understand. But if you look at Portland, how people in Portland in the United States face ICE, dressed in clowns and doing all this stuff. Well, Venezuelans have this amazing streak where we think, okay, we're talking and thinking, okay, I'm not going to stand here. They joke in the supermarket and say, hey, what are you doing here? And missile should, come here anytime soon. And the other person says, no, I'm just came to buy a quick buy and leaving. Everybody, because of the situation, the salaries haven't improved yet, cannot really hoard food. So you go and have your normal shopping, but also people are going to the beach, people are having great time. In Caracas, everybody is just enjoying their lives. On Sunday, you can see people running and doing exercises in the parks and taking the kids for a walk. It is quite incredible. And I'm here in London, more worried. I mean, last night I was thinking, talking to one of my friends there, and I couldn't sleep that well thinking, but she's like, oh no, don't worry, we're here just having fun. She was actually queuing because she was putting some petrol in her car, and we talked long and wide. She said, well, she already done the training that everybody's done, by the way. Everybody has gone to learn how to use an arm of some basic, ideas of what to do if an invasion happens. So I think the Americans are going to have a second Vietnam, and I don't want that, obviously. I don't feel like we deserve it. But it could be if we could turn into that.
It's important that we show solidarity with Venezuela. There's a couple of events that you sent me here.
We have one on the 15th.
This is
this is super important because
15th
we are
of November, 1 till 6 p.m. Bolivar Hall, which is quite near to Warren Street, Euston Square stations.
Yes, and this is going to be super important. This is for the people who really want to find out what is going on in Venezuela. We're going to have some videos of people talking from Venezuela, but also a fantastic video made about how the communes work. And we're going to be talking about Venezuela, Latin America, and Gaza as well, and connecting all these attacks, in geopolitical terms. And we are also trying to start to be the beginning of something called the International Anti-Fascist in London. We need to create an umbrella where all these organizations that you see there and many more can join in and really start making the dots. Getting all these panels discussion, bringing people that might not be conversant with these themes and connecting the dots and discussing and letting people also talk and ask questions. This is important because we need to educate people beyond our group of activists. And this event is for that. And the second one, this is on the 22nd. The other one is the first is on the 15th, Saturday the 15th. And this one is because I'm helping Tony Corden, who is the founder of El Sueño Existe. It's a festival that happens in Machynlleth in North Wales, and it happens every year to honor the legacy of Victor Jara, who was a guitarist killed by Pinochet. in 1973. And this event next year is going to be about Venezuela. Venezuela is the guest country. So we're trying to raise money to bring a couple of artists that we think are amazing from Caracas, from Venezuela. But also it's going to be an amazing festival, as always is, where you will see poetry, music, dancing, food, films, discussions, and everything in between. So it's going to be fantastic, and we're all working, and the government of Venezuela is aware of this, and it's going to support us in any way they can as well, and the embassy here.